played football for the University of Tennessee. He is a man's man. He's fantastic, and he is coaching others on how to take their business to the next level, transitioning like a champion. Derek, welcome to the Networking Today Global Meeting Leader Call. So glad to have you.
This is a question you got to ask yourself every single day. I know I ask myself this question every single day. When I wake up, I ask myself, am I calling my best play? And when you think about your best play, I use a lot of sports terms because that's the world I was raised in, I grew up in. But when you call your best play, if you look at sports, if you watch the finals last night, regardless if you're a basketball fan or not, you can play anything about any sport. But last night, for example, you seen the Warriors shoot three-pointers. When it came out to the clutch time, they shot three-pointers to help get ahead in that game. At the end of the day, the Warriors' best play is Steph Curry and Thompson and all those guys shooting threes. You know it's going to come. You understand it's going to come. And guess what? You can't do nothing about it because that's their best play. They call their best play regardless, and you can't stop it. So when you think about this from a personal perspective, you got to ask yourself this question: am I calling my best play? As a husband, as a father, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as an employee, as a leader, as a servant, as a spiritual being, am I calling my best play? And that's the best play that's going to get you the best outcome, the best result every single day that you call it. Regardless of if the opposition or the competition know you're going to call it, are you calling your best play to get the best outcome that you want? And the question you got to ask yourself is, if you're not calling your best play, do you know what your best play is? I remember playing sports, we had certain plays that we know if we called it, we was going to get stops. If we know if we called it on offense, we were going to get touchdowns. So you got to figure out what's your best play offensively and what's your best play defensively. But if you don't know what your best play is, first things first, you got to figure out how do you discover your best play. Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. As a young child, I did a lot of moving. My mom was raised by a single mom, raising 3 kids in Southwest Atlanta. And from a mother's perspective, she was doing everything she could to put us in the best environment, the best situation to grow up and be the best people that we could possibly be. So when that being said, when situations or the environments we lived in were not conducive to that, she would move. So I found myself moving a lot. At the time, I didn't understand it. But as I reflect back on it, that's what we were doing. So I became really good at this making friends because every time I would go to a new school, I knew I had to make friends really fast because the next year we was going to be moving again. Well, over the course of doing that 4 times in about 4 years, going to middle school, I became good at making friends. Well, I fast forward that to today as you're an adult and as you're an entrepreneur and as you're in sales and you got to get leads and you got to do things like this promotion that y'all got going on. You have to be good at meeting people. Well, when you're little, they call it making friends. When you're older, they call it networking. Rich is pretty good at that. I'm not sure if he moved around as much as I did, but he started this deal, Networking Today International, so he's pretty good at networking. So when you're younger, they call it networking. When you're younger, they call it making friends. When you're older, they call it networking. That right there was one of my best plays. So I discovered one of my best plays, which was networking and meeting people at a younger age. However, I'm able to apply it today. So when you think about what pains or what things that you went through, what struggles you went through, what gives you your unfair advantage that's going to get you the results and the output that you want every single day, whether it's on an offensive producing side of it or whether it's a defensive producing side of it. I know for me, the next thing that I helped decide was my best play, whether it was offense or defense. For one, when I was younger, it was fear. The fear of not having a better life, not being in a better situation. However, the fear of not making it out of my environment forced me and kept me on track to stay precise, to stay to doing the things I needed to do, to not deviate from the goal plan, to not deviate and not to go down the wrong path. So that fear right there now correlates to focus. So now whatever I'm doing, I don't get sidetracked. I don't worry about the small things. I'm able to focus and lock in on the task at hand. So I know focus is one of my best plays. Offensively, it's my perspective. Because when I was younger, and that fear again, I had this fear of things not working out, but when I look back at it, things always worked out in my favor. So now I got this perpetual positive perspective on things because I know things are going to work out in my favor. So when it comes down to it, the proper perspective allowed me to just go to work. So I know my offensive best play, I know my defensive best play. I understand a couple different blitzes that I have that I can call for best plays. But at the end of the day, you got to have your base set of best plays. What things that you go through, that you grew through, to help you become who you are, that you can use and apply right now in your livelihood and in the business world, through your family, that you can know you're going to get the greatest outcome, the best results every single time. As a leader, you got to know what's your best play. As a team, you got to be calling your best play. You see it exemplified in sports every single day. However, see what you can take away from what sports is showing us and demonstrating on a regular basis, and how can you apply it to your life. And one of the biggest takeaways I learned from sports was calling my best play. Sports Center, you make highlights, you make plays of the days when you call your best play. You make none of those things if you call your worst play. But if you don't know the difference between your best play and your worst play, you don't stand a chance at all.